Hey everybody, hopefully a quick video here for y'all. I start doing stuff in the studio sometimes and I'm like, man, I should have recorded that. Maybe somebody would get some benefit from it. So I kind of stopped what I was doing today and hit record. So here we are. What I was doing is I was creating a rack to control Omnisphere so that I had some presets on the Ableton Push, or a default as it were, on the Ableton Push. So when I open up this instrument rack, it'll open up Omnisphere to default preset of my choice. But more importantly, that I have a bunch of macros assigned that I can easily automate here. You know, from the automation tab, I can automate these macros really easy. But more importantly, I have them right on my push. So just wanted to show you real quick how to do that. And this also goes with any VST for that matter. But one specific thing about Omnisphere that I'll show you here in a second is it requires one little tricky step to be able to assign these macros. But if you see now, I have the master volume, or sorry, the cutoff here, master frequency cutoff, the master resonance. I have a master gain. Got my hand in the way of the camera, apologize for that. But anywho, let's just start from scratch and I'll show you how to make these and how to set it up. So we got here a brand new Omnisphere by itself. First thing you want to do is hit Command G to group it and hit the first little icon here to open up our macros. Now you can do this in Ableton 10, I believe probably in Ableton 9 as well. But the cool thing about Ableton 11 is you can have up to 16 macros, and that would be 2 pages over on the push. Nevertheless, if you watched my video on creating racks for the Sound Toys plugins, similar process. So if you see here, you click this little gear or the little wrench here. We're going to open up our thing, and then we're going to click the triangle right next to it. Open up the configure menu. Now, with a lot of VSTs, once you hit configure, you'll actually see, you can actually just click on any parameter that you want to assign, and it'll automatically pop up here. But if you see in Omnisphere, if I click on the cutoff, it doesn't do anything. This is a one extra step that you have to do in Omnisphere is, or any of the Spectrasonic plugins, you have to right click on the knob or slider and click Enable Host Automation. You might have ran into that before if you wanted to automate anything and you couldn't figure out why it wasn't listed there, or when you clicked on it, it wouldn't show in the automation lane. That's why. So now when I click on it, it does what it's supposed to do. It opens up to the master filter, and the master filter by default is set to the far right to 128. So you want to either type in 128 or turn the macro all the way up, then right click on it and assign to macro 1. And it automatically names it for you, but you can rename it. And we'll just call this master cut off. Boom. And now you can see it's over on the push on macro number 1. And as we move it, we now have knob control of that, and it's easily automatable for automation lane 1. So like I said, you could also do it with effects like I did in the Sound Toys video, which I'll put a link for above here. You just want to group it, Control G, click on your macros, then click on the little triangle between the wrench. And a lot of times this is what you'll actually see right off the bat. It'll give you all the settings. So as you're assigning them, you know, you just want to, again, right click on it and you can assign it that macro. I actually noticed something that they fixed that you used to have to do. I mentioned that when I was showing you on the Ableton, on the Omnisphere part, is you used to have to make sure that your settings, say for instance, if I was going to assign macro 3, like I showed you with the volume on Omnisphere, you have to turn it all the way up. Make sure this is all the way up before you assign it. But actually, through some testing, I found out that's not actually true. I can have this all the way down and this, you know, here. And as soon as I assign it, boom, it snaps. That's a great improvement. That was a feature I had not yet seen that I believe has been added in Ableton 11. So once you got all your macros assigned and you got it to a place that you want to be able to recall it, the last step is to save this instrument rack. So a couple different thoughts here. One, you could save it just as a default rack for Omnisphere with like your go-to sound, or you could save, you could recall this one, select the preset that you want to be able to recall, and then name it that preset. So when you recall that preset, you could actually have even different macros assigned per preset. But what I'm going to do, and what my idea was for this when I was doing it today, was just to create a default that would always pull up every time for Omnispheres. So what you want to do is in the instrument rack, hit the little floppy button, not over here where the VST is, but over here under the instrument rack, hit save. And you can't see it's behind this window, but now it's asking me to name it. I'm going to call this Omnisphere. And we'll just call it that because I'm not done doing all my macros I want to assign. Then what we can do, if you want to be able to have this pull up like every time you create a MIDI track, I use Omnisphere pretty much more than any other VST, is I can right click on it and say save as default preset, which will pull it up as the default preset. But then on top of that, you can do it that way. And then the other way to do it is to actually click on the track, click on the track name up here, and right click and say save as default MIDI track. And that, when you do that, every time you create a new MIDI track, it'll automatically pull up that instance of Omnisphere with that preset and all the goodies there. If you found value from this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment if you have any other tips, tricks, questions, all that good stuff. And I hope you enjoy the video and have a great day.